is leverage? I'm going to spend some time on this one because we're not really taught this in our society. We're taught to go get a good education, build a resume, and exchange our expertise for someone's dollars. The problem with that is if we're not exchanging our expertise, we're not making any dollars. So vacation time is costly. A walk around the golf course, costly. Family time, although extremely important, is costly. I'll define the word leverage as an increased means by which to attain something. One form of leverage is investing $5 million and earning 10% interest, which will yield you about 41 grand a month in income. So whether you're enjoying family time or playing golf or vacationing, you're still enjoying 41 grand a month in income. You're leveraging off your money. That's a leverage everyone would love, but very few have it. Let me explain another kind of leverage that's available to everyone, including yourself. Incidentally, if you get nothing more out of this video than a better understanding of this little simple concept I'm going to explain, you'll have gained something very valuable for watching it. Imagine, if you will, you own a company. You employ just one person, me. I work for 8 hours on Monday. You work for the same 8 hours on Monday that I do. Now listen closely. You get paid on 16 hours worth of work because you take a portion of my productivity as income back to yourself. You're leveraging off my efforts because I'm your employee. So theoretically, the more employees you have working for you, the more leverage you have. However, have you ever had employees? If you have, you know that in theory, hiring employees sounds great, but it's very difficult to reach leverage through employees. I've heard it said that if you have one employee, you have one headache. If you have 100 employees, you run an adult daycare center. And the reason being is this: no employee will ever work as hard for your company as you will, because they don't own it. Here's my rule of thumb for reaching true leverage. If there's one sentence that epitomizes the entire video, it would be this: to have true leverage, you must create a situation where everyone has the same amount to gain. Only then do you have true leverage. Let me give you an example of this type of leverage. Let's say that I'm a real estate broker and I hire an agent named Robert. Robert goes out and sells a building. Robert earns a percentage of the selling price of the building, and so do I, the broker. Why do I, the broker, earn a percentage when it was Robert who sold the building? Well, I did some of the advertising. I trained Robert. I had the initiative to go get my broker's license in the first place. I put up the risk. I did a lot of things. And so it's valid that I, as the broker, earn my money. But Robert doesn't work for me as an employee. He's an independent contractor. He just hangs his real estate license on my wall. My point here is the broker and the agent have the same amount to gain from the sale of the home. It is totally in the agent's interest to earn more money, which is a form of leverage for the broker. There is a flaw in this leverage situation that I've shown you, and it's this: the broker can have multiple agents, but the agents cannot. The broker has leverage, the agents don't. Until the agents do what most brokers dread. What happens when I, the broker, have been real effective at teaching Robert to be a good agent? What's Robert going to want to do in a couple of years? Be his own broker, right? Is this good for me, the broker? No, because as soon as he becomes a broker, two bad things happen to me. Number one, he breaks away from me and I lose him as an income source. And two, worse than that, he's now my competitor that I trained. He knows all my good stuff. By the way, this doesn't just happen in the real estate industry. It happens in practically every industry. Have you ever heard the expression, "I'm just going to work there for experience"? What does that mean? It means I'm going to strip them of their knowledge and then go do it myself. If you're a business owner, how many people have you trained who are no longer working for you? How many people have you trained to be your competitors? Well, this gets worse. Let's say that Robert is now a broker right down the street. What will he do now that he's a broker? He'll go out and hire his own agents. And let's say one of those agents is Linda. Linda also eventually wants to be a broker. So she becomes a competitor to me that I indirectly trained, as well as Robert, who I directly trained. And this continues on and on. I actually created a chain of competitors that I trained. What if we did a whole paradigm shift? Here's where this becomes brilliant. Let's say instead I'm going to empower Robert to become a broker. I want him to become a broker from day one. See, the only way that you or I can retain a leader is provide him or her with the same opportunity for growth that we have. Hence, an opportunity where everyone has the same amount to gain. So from day one, I'm going to encourage Robert to be a broker. And when he does, he doesn't break away from me and become my competitor. He shifts from agent to broker, which now allows him to sponsor his own agents. Now, to create an incentive for me, the broker, to always help Robert and his agents, I'm still going to earn a percentage of what he and his agents sell. And shouldn't I? I trained him. I put up the risk and all those reasons I mentioned earlier. Now, the percentage I earn from Robert and his organization should be a lot smaller than when he was an agent, but I should still earn a percentage. That's my incentive to keep working with them. Now, some people look at this and say, gosh, isn't that one of those pyramids? And what's the perception of a pyramid? People at the top making all the money and the people down below do all the work, right? Isn't that the perception of a pyramid? Let me explain why this is not a pyramid and why people at the top don't necessarily make all the money. Let me just make a quick point before I discuss the pyramid issue. It's not the geometric shape that people have a problem with. This geometric shape is probably the shape of your family tree, the shape of our government. To the architect, it's the strongest structure known to man. Every organizational structure in the world is this shape. So the shape isn't the problem. However, that perception, people at the top earn all the money, let me illustrate that for you. Here's a typical corporation. At the top, you have a CEO, which stands for Chief Executive Officer. Does the president earn more money than the CEO? Not normally. How about below the president? Do any of the vice presidents earn more money than the president? No. Let me ask this question, and I want you to really think about it. What would happen if some of the vice presidents of a corporation made more money than the president? Really, what would happen? Talk about total confusion. This whole process is called delegation. Each level of the corporation earns less income. The reason the president can tell the vice president what to do is because they make more money. So the corporate structure is people at the top making the majority of the money, and the people at the bottom do not. The CEO of any corporation earns off the productivity of, or is leveraged off of, everyone in his or her corporation. Whether that CEO personally hired every employee or someone else in the company hires them. So the CEO, and only the CEO, earns on multiple levels of his or her company. And the model that I'm suggesting as being brilliant is where you, the individual, are given that same opportunity to earn on multiple levels of brokers and agents, just as the CEO of a corporation is. From here on, I'll refer to this form of marketing as network marketing.